Alright, welcome back everyone. I want this button. I just watched the reveal trailer for Watch Dogs 2 and the game looks interesting as hell. You guys can check out my reaction on my channel. It should be up by the time I post this video. San Francisco looks interesting. The tone looks very different from 1, which is exciting. I like the change in direction. And but the problem with cinematic trailers is that you don't get any gameplay. And that's a problem because the major factor in me deciding whether I should be excited for this game or not is going to be if it's fun to play. So hopefully that's what this live stream is. They posted it on YouTube. I was waiting for that because live streams are, they're not trustworthy right now with my internet. And I'm shooting with my DSLR. It's 18 minutes long. This thing can shoot for 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and see what Ubisoft has to offer now. What you got? What you got, Ubi? Sorry.
It starts with reality. With Watch Dogs, it always starts with reality. It doesn't mean we cannot be imaginative or all of that, but in reality, acting and people who break systems are pretty creative naturally. So we want to inspire ourselves from them.
Some nice studio shots. Ooh, some gameplay. I mean, some...
This is a big moment for us in production. Basically, all the parts of the game are colliding together for the first time. And for the past months, we've been able to play the game from beginning to end. So now we see how things are coming together, and you could almost say the game has a life of its own at this point.
A life of its own.
When you finish a game after almost 5 years, you need to sleep on it a little bit. Then afterwards, what's exciting is when you start really understanding what you tried to do with the first game, what went well, what went less good, and also what the players have said.
So Watch Dogs was, first of all, a new IP, which is a big deal. It means that you start from almost nothing.
I think the new idea in Watch Dogs 1 was to talk about an hyper-connected society. Something that was
This reminds me a lot of
very important in our
how they
lives.
revealed
Chicago was
Syndicate for the first time.
City in North America, so we talked a lot about cameras and surveillance and being watched.
When you played Watch Dogs, you probably played something you never played before because the city was sort of alive. People were not just people walking around the street, but you could hack into their lives and you could exploit them. You could see their secrets. You could manipulate the city, the bridges and the steam pipes and the traffic lights. What we basically created with Watch Dogs 1 was a playground where everything was connected.
So finally shipping the game. Well, a lot of people were happy and excited. We also got a lot of feedback, and we listened to that feedback. I personally spent months reading forums and reading all of the player feedbacks I could see on the web. We wanted to know what people felt and what they wanted to get from the game and what we could improve in the future. At that point, we knew we were going to make a Watch Dogs 2.
There's that logo. Kind of like it. I don't know. It's like simple, spray painty.
We felt like we really did a big milestone with the original Watch Dogs. But with Watch Dogs 2, we could really deliver on the fantasy of being a hacker.
This time around, we're in San Francisco. For us, San Francisco struck the chord because it meant the
Look at
very
that. That's
birth of the attitude of a hacker.
looks big. Okay, I already watched this. Yeah. That's fine. We'll watch it again. You know, I'm not a big fan of cinematic trailers at all, but when you unveil it like this, where you actually show stuff of the game, I'm fine with it. I really am. Why not? Give, what is that studio? Blur. Give Blur some money. I don't even know if they did this. They probably didn't. It doesn't look like they did. That 3D printer, if we actually get to use that in the game to make whatever, you sold me. That's it. That's all I needed. Some of the shots in this show are really, really well done. And I really want to know what the whole tie-in with Silicon Valley is. Obviously, the tech industry, they have access to search engines and all of that stuff. They have a lot of power. So I guess in that way, you can kind of get involved in hacking, spreading your message. When they have access to so many members, so many people, that's their real power. So join us. World of Watch Dogs 2. Ooh, I like the concept art. I love concept art. I mean, I can
But the
just...
setting of Watch Dogs 2, we wanted to have a different vibe.
Pier 39.
So our San Francisco keeps all the important parts of the Bay Area. And there's a different feel, different vibe, a different look to all of the areas of our world.
We wanted to kind of represent
Looks
all these
big.
different areas and the different collections of people that live in these areas and what their lifestyles and their personalities.
That's so funny.
So we're building a game where basically it's almost a simulation. You're in that world, and if you stop moving and you look around, you feel the world is alive, right? This is the promise of what an open world game is. We broke the feeling that the world is centered on you, the player. So characters shouldn't only react to you, they should react to each other. You know, maybe people start fights. Maybe someone calls the cops on someone else than you. Maybe a dog barks after someone else and chases him down the street. You need to feel as if this city is alive, even if you do nothing. And then if you start doing things, if you start playing in the world, the city should react to what you're doing. It should feel normal. It should surprise you also in how it reacts.
It looks pretty, and
We were really interested in the city itself. It almost feels like the Wild West of technology. And
But it
how
also
would-
looks like
how
it's
could
running
we set
on a
something in the
PS4,
Wild
which is
West of
important.
technology?
they're not
It's a world that
You know,
has a lot of potential.
giving it fluff.
I mean, if you're a hacker and you go in Silicon Valley and you have the head office of some of the biggest tech company in the world, what
Noodle.
do you do? Can you hack into those places? What will you find?
That's funny. All
So
right.
it's a very intriguing setting for a hacker who's exploring the world. So as we're crafting this world, we're putting in it all of the factions that should be in it. So for example, we have various criminal groups trying to fight over the underground of the city. We also
Okay.
have corporations trying to make money and potentially even manipulate people in society. And we also have other groups of hackers trying to tap into the technology that has been set up in the city. Once again, CTOS, the smart city system that was in the first Watch Dogs, is installed in San Francisco.
Of course.
Various people are trying to tap into it to exercise control, power, or to try to make money.
In creating a hero for Watch Dogs 2, we wanted somebody new, somebody that could embody.
Do you
the
wish
spirit
to
of
log
California
out of
and the
society?
spirit of San Francisco, but we needed somebody who was going to be really worthy of all the cool stuff that we wanted to do in the game. So, our hero in Watch Dogs 2 is Marcus Holloway. He's a young hacker, very brilliant in what he does because of the injustices that he's seen, both being from Oakland and also having been profiled the wrong way and being accused of a crime he actually didn't commit. That sort of made him go against the system.
Okay, I want to see how that plays out. Maybe the intro will give us a glimpse into that. This is a... Okay. Just the energy. This game has energy now. Watch Dogs, the first Watch Dogs just didn't have that. Obviously when they first got revealed it did, but... Are you sure you want to... restart? Or reload?
In terms of visual, we always try to create iconic attributes to the character so that he can be memorable and people wants to play him, but still feels credible inside our world. He's a perfect blend between somebody that's tech savvy, that represents a little bit the internet culture, but also has that athletic and rebellious feeling to him.
So we had to decide from the beginning what things were comparable between Aiden and Marcus and what things would be
Looks pretty
different.
smooth.
We focused on parkour. We wanted Marcus to be
Oh,
a lot
shit,
better at
okay.
parkour than Aiden. And we're not talking about just like climbing on things, but like being able to like flow and chain moves together. So he's a pretty good fighter. He's got some interesting quirks too. He's a more expressive guy. really tried hard to figure out what kind of melee weapon Marcus would have. We tried a whole bunch of things, and some things were pretty cool, and some things just didn't work at all. We did a lot of research, and we basically did what Marcus would have done. We went onto the internet and we started watching videos and started reading websites and trying to figure out what kind of stuff we could make. Pretty much all the stuff that you probably shouldn't search at work. In the end, what we stumbled across was this idea of taking a billiard ball and attaching it to a paracord lanyard.
No.
And we took this and we handed this to the stunt team, and the first thing that we saw was it was fast. It was so fast that we couldn't believe how fast they were swinging this around their body.
That's kind of
And As soon
cool.
as I saw this video, I'm like, this is crazy. We got it.
I mean, if I got hit with a pool ball like that, I'd be crying.
Citizens of the world, may we have your attention.
DedSec.
When we say we want to make a game about hacking, really a hacker, it's a culture, but you can have various motivations. The motivation we're excited about was what we call hacktivism. People who want to impact society and have ideals to defend.
So just in the background and in the fantasy of it, you're not a hacker in Watch Dogs 2. You're a DedSec hacker. You're a member of a community.
It's just like
And
Mr.
you're doing
Robot.
grand stuff and big exposure of important information to society because you're not alone and you're working with other people.
Love that
The
show.
first thing that you have to do when you're talking about hackers is you kind of have to respect where they came from originally. Their messages sound very serious, but there's also a lulzy element to it, the way they have fun with what they're saying. We took that and we said, okay, so what if this is the sort of the spirit of DedSec and of our heroes? What if their spirit is still rooted in the trolling, it's a joke, we're gonna have fun with it, but they still have something important to say.
The DedSec visual was really important for me because it
Really
represents
interesting
everything that's
art.
cool about Watch Dogs. It's stylized, it's edgy, and it's raw, and it's underground, tapping into the horror genre, tapping into the internet culture with all the memes and also all the visual language of the internet.
So there are various characters, various people inside of DedSec. Some are a bit more violent, some have more ideals, some are maybe more intellectual. But they all have in common that they want to fight to preserve a sense of freedom. They don't
I'm kind of
want
into
people
this.
to
I don't
use
know,
tech.
but I can't describe
They
it. It's like I'm
control
still
people.
worried,
But
like
you know,
just a
I'm
little
not saying
bit.
they are knights. You know, they are rebellious. They do their own things, their own way, and they want to have fun. That's also one thing. Is a sense of freedom, also a sense of fun through that group.
We are DedSec. Join us.
Heck,
The new idea for
everything.
hacking in Watch Dogs 2 is to let the player create his own solutions.
We're adding a lot more depth to hacking, so you have a lot more control, a lot more
The game's
flexibility in how you
looking
hack
good.
the world.
So one big category of hacking in Watch Dogs 2 is the entire branch of pushing remote controls to its limit.
One of the big things on Watch Dogs is hacking vehicles. I think this is a real game changer because
that
vehicles are everywhere
GTA
in the
5
world,
shit right
and
there.
if you can hack into the drive system of a car, you can pretty much drive it wherever you want.
Okay.
So making sure if you see a forklift in the world, it shouldn't be a forklift. You can just like move the box up, down. You should, just like a camera, press a button and become that thing.
One of the core things that we're doing is we're opening up the game with Watch Dogs 2. You can hack every character. You can hack every car in the game. And you can hack most of the electronics within the city. So that's a lot of potential targets for hacking. And that's not even counting your own tools.
Hopefully it
Well, in
just
Watch Dogs
works.
2, we brought
Just
in a
all
lot
of it,
more
like they're
toys
saying.
and things to play with because we wanted to embrace the maker culture.
DedSec have these really interesting, intricate guns. They're built on a 3D printer. Basically, the cutting edge technology of 3D printing, which is actually building it with metal. He's also got this really cool taser. So if you want
Yes.
to play the game
That's
completely
it.
non-lethal and not
I'm
actually shoot
convinced.
anybody, you can totally do that.
We're playing with a lot more crafted items and a lot more of little devices that you can use.
One of the things that people kind of like that we've done, they really like what we've done, is we've created toys.
The explosions are kind of weak, but
He has an RC
That's all right.
jumper. He's got little wheels, and he's even got this little robotic arm that he can sort of deploy, and he can interact with things. He can unplug things and replug them and take out screws. It's a neat little toy.
nice.
And then the other gadget he's got is this quadcopter.
Yeah.
And it's
Nice,
more about
okay.
scouting and being the eye in the sky. First person view on it is incredible because you're just zipping through the city. It feels like you're flying. Well, you are flying.
What?
Another branch, which is kind of connected to it, is the concept of manipulating people.
In Watch Dogs 1, you could only hack the people that were marked as potential target. Now, you can target the person you want, and you can hack them in multiple ways. For example, I could hack one person and distract them, have their phone ringing so they look at their phone to create a distraction. Later on in the game, you'll also be able to do things we call mass hacking, which is, well, why only hack one if you can hack them all?
Okay.
There's one thing that I really believe about Watch Dogs players is that there is no Watch Dogs player. There are many types of Watch Dogs players.
You should be deciding how
The big
you
thing
want
is I
to
really want to
So
investigate.
that means you can play a mission full gun blazing, that's the way you like to play, full stealth, or through hacking
With my
only.
hacking.
Project yourself in computers, take control of electronics, influence people, and try to get to your goal that way.
We try to really support all players types across all different styles of play, and also allow players to combine and mash these styles and play together.
That
too.
pool ball, man.
If you've been playing a certain
So
way for a
funny,
while,
but
we
I don't know,
want
I
to
kinda like it.
challenge you to try different things, but also not force you into playing the game a certain way.
We work to improve the driving, make it more accessible while keeping all the different styles of vehicles and adding a lot of physics and feel to all the vehicles.
That was one of
So we
my
keep it
major
balanced,
issues
but
with the
have
previous
more
game.
accessibility.
The cars
team
just
is super
felt
happy with the result we had.
something was
and I
wrong.
hope gamers will be just as excited.
So I'm glad they're taking this part seriously, actually.
We are very excited by the potential of what we call seamless online. We start doing that in Watch Dogs 1, so we're expanding on that.
Right.
We cross path with friends in the city. So you playing in single player and you're crossing path with another player who's also playing in single player. Both of you are members of DedSec, so you're friends, and you can just walk up to each other, you'll say hello, hit the button, and form a co-op team. And what we're going to be showing in the next couple of months is examples
Will they
of
all
how those
appeal-
things work
appear as
together
different
to create
people?
magical gameplay moments.
So like you could come across two of them at the same time, or
The city of San Francisco,
I guess
the
not.
Bay Area is exciting. It's vast. You're going to find a ton of things to do that are unique to you.
Basically build your own moments. You know, create a situation that you start laughing at and you say, wow, this happened, and you want to share it with friends.
You don't want to just be like a roller coaster or a theme park ride where I go through all the same beats as everybody else.
You decide what you want to be spending your time doing. That can be multiplayer, that can be focusing on stories, that can be just
That'll be me.
exploring the world. Whichever activity you do, we're going to make sure you get rewarded to get you closer to the end game. That's kind of the promise.
he's got to
we're
walk
making
too.
gamers.
Like smart. I'm never
always
gonna get-
know
I'm gonna
when
use that
something
all the
starts to
time.
click, it starts to work. Everything changed.
You stop seeing individual components, animations, or texture maps or vehicles. You just start to see the experience as a whole.
It changes on the floor. People get excited about it.
This is it. It exists.
We are always making the game with the player in mind. They have always been the driving force.
When you come with a sequel that really earns its due, you know, that really does a lot of new things, that has a lot of surprises, it's a great feeling.
In the end, there's nothing more accurate than this. Looking at something, trying to understand it. Solely for up with this stuff.
What? I like a passionate creative director always. All right, November 15, 2016, and that's the end, right? Yeah, wait. I said I was gonna wait, see the demo at E3. Cool. So they'll actually show a nice little demo, little chunk of the game that we can actually extrapolate, be like, okay, that's gonna be the meat and the potatoes of the experience, the moment-to-moment stuff. And that stuff is what needs to convince us, right? Because they could focus on a little thing over here, they could focus and be like, oh, look at this stuff. But if the moment-to-moment stuff doesn't work, then it all falls apart. And the one thing that I noticed from the live stream is that this game has personality now. The previous game never had that. It was, I know a lot of people liked it, I get it. And I did too, but it did lack heart, it did lack something that you want out of a game like this. And yeah, I just feel like this game has it. I feel like it found its mojo a little bit, and it's found a little bit of its identity and where it should go kind of with this. And I'm just overall satisfied with what I saw. The animations look great. That little pool ball string rope thing, that looks pretty cool. It's silly, absolutely. I will give you that. It is silly. But it like I said, it's just this whole game is kind of silly, and I like it. I don't, not to say that I don't like very serious games, because I absolutely do. But I feel like this world doesn't fit that really. Like I could get the super serious, like Mr. Robot kind of feel, but then you could get the more fun aspect to it as well. And I think it matches the gameplay, because you can't have a GTA style open world game like this where you have helicopters roaming around and just craziness, and not have a little bit of absurdity, not have a little bit of just flamboyant characters. But you know, the thing that will determine whether or not these characters, because they do have a lot of personality, but you know, there's annoying personalities as well. So if it goes into that territory where the dialogue just, it doesn't come off well, or the writing, it doesn't come together, and the story overall is just convoluted, and there's way too many things going on, and it's just like, I don't care about this and I don't care about that character and what's happening over here in this story arc, then you will have an absolute point to say that, you know what, going in this direction didn't really work out. And that's where I'm worried. It's a very thin line with what they're trying to do, right? Because Sunset Overdrive is a type of game that delivered in the absurdity, broke the fourth wall, just completely just dedicated to that tone. And Watch Dogs, I feel like it's found something, but it's a very, very thin line. They're on a bar, and they're just barely balancing on it. And if they're able to just walk the plank when not falling down, basically, then I think they'll be all right. So the writing has to be on point. They have to make interesting, compelling characters and stories. And the gameplay looks all right. Yeah, it looks fun. I just really can't wait to see that demo at E3. So hopefully it just all comes together. My biggest question right now, before we see the demo, will be if they can balance the weirdness, the silliness, and also create just compelling stories. And that's what I want out of this, even though a lot of people are like, I don't care about stories in Watch Dogs, I just want to hack shit, and that's fine. But I want to just completely just get into that world, and hacking culture, whatever it is you want to present to me, I'm going to dive in. But it has to just be compelling. That's my case. So Watch Dogs looks good so far, guys, and hopefully they can pull it off. But oh, and I also want to say kudos to them for showing apparent Xbox One or PlayStation footage, because or PS4 footage, because the game doesn't look like spectacular. And this is something they did very similar to Syndicate, where they showed actual footage of the game running on PS4, and you know, there wasn't any real backlash in terms of downgrade when it comes to that game. And I feel like there won't be with this one. I feel like the company has decided, you know what, moving forward, we've heard the backlash from a lot of the people that we present this kind of game and then suddenly it just doesn't look up to par. So you know what, let's just be confident in our artists, be confident in our tech, and let's just show them what we got running on a PS4, running on Xbox One, and hopefully they like it. And I appreciate that a lot, and I think you guys should too. So it seems like they're changing, seems like everything's working for the better. Assassin's Creed is now pushed to another year. They're going to focus on making the game better. It just feels like, so hopefully Vivendi doesn't screw everything up, right? That's Vivendi, whatever. If you guys don't know about that, search on Google. They're trying to take over Ubisoft. So Ubisoft. All right, never mind. I'm rambling at this point. I'll see you guys later. If you hate me, you know what to do. If you like me, what to do. Peace.